Hi creative friends, this is Rhea and thank you so much for being here. So I hadn't planned on doing a part 3 of my creating first layers using acrylic inks, but I was asked to do a series where I bring it to completion, so that's what I'm going to do. So I allowed this to completely dry and I'm going to bring it up closer here. And I hope that the camera can pick up on the really thick layers of paint juxtaposed with the transparent inks. And I just love the interest and beauty that, putting those two aspects side by side create on the page. So the first thing I'm going to do is look through my viewfinder and I'm going to just look and see what's going on. And I find that when I use a viewfinder to just look at things in a very abstract way, it allows me to really focus in on one part of the painting and, see what is interesting to me. And I've talked about this before, but when I look at a painting, I'm not drawn to something that is traditionally beautiful. That's just me personally. Like, I like interesting more, and I like ugly, and ugly can be interesting. Whereas if something is too cookie cutter beautiful, it just has no appeal to me at all. So for me, what I don't like is something that is boring. Now, we do need parts of the painting that are neutralized because, every part of the painting can't be really interesting and vibrant, etc. We need parts that are going to be more subdued, but neutrals do not have to be boring at all. There are neutrals that can be lush and decadent and moody and stunning. So I look at ugly as a good thing in my painting, and I look at boring as something I want to get rid of. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my figures. And I think I'm going to go for, initially I thought, well, maybe I could put 3 figures on here, but I think that's going to be a bit too crowded. Not that I can't do it, but, I want to retain some of these bold pieces here. And, if I put, let me see how I can explain this. So if I put 3 figures on the page, these bold pieces are going to overwhelm the figures. And for me, the figures should always take center stage. So I have to think about the scale of my figures. So I think I'm going to go for 1 figure for now. I mean, I could change my mind on that, but, oh, my tip broke. Okay. So I think, and this is going to be like an abstract. I'm not going for realism because I want to try to keep some of these gorgeous marks and lines here. So I think I'm going to go like so. And I know everything looks like a big jumbly mess now because I haven't, I haven't really differentiated the background from the foreground. Now I may be able to put 2 figures on here. Or I could, I could put a sun over here. I think I'm gonna just try that out. Like a really big sun. And okay, so let me work with what I have here. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to try to unify the background a little bit. And I think I'm going to go with my chalk paint in Cashew. I don't know if that's a good choice or if I should go with a bit of a gray. I might go with a bit of a gray because the colors on the page are really vibrant. So I think I'm just gonna gray it, gray my neutral down a little bit. Now, I don't want to cover everything up. I do want to retain some of this beauty with the inks. And I've mentioned this before that, you know, if I leave something, I can always cover it up later. But if I cover something up, like, I'm not going to be able to get it back. So I try to err on the side of caution with this. And, you know, leave stuff out because I don't know, I can always cover it up later. So and sometimes we just have to cover up stuff that we love. I hate doing that, but, you know, it just has to be done. And I console myself by thinking that, you know, it's still there. I just can't see it. Now, unfortunately, I think I am going to have to get rid of some of this, which I really love. I love this pattern over here. But I think, well, I'm going to leave it for now. And maybe I can do something with it. Now, for the figure, I cannot keep everything looking like this. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't want to do that. Like, I want to bring in some solids so that the patterns that are there can shine. So I'm gonna have to figure out, you know, do I want to keep the hair? Like, I think I'm gonna cover up the face. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my Liquitex ink and I'm going to drop some in there like so. And I do want to retain some of this over here for the face, but I need to kind of solidify some of this. Otherwise, it's just not going to work for me. Like, I wouldn't know how to kind of, you know, work with that. But I think this might work here. Okay, so I'm gonna let this dry over here, and I think I'm gonna bring in an orange over here, just a solid orange color, and that's gonna pick up on some of the oranges across the page. But I need to solidify some of this. You know, it can't be like where everything is like too busy. There are some artists who can do that. The first artist that comes to mind is Connie Solera. the lady who did the art journal that I have done some videos on, and she does this in such an amazing way. I have no idea how she does it. And she does it while making it look easy. But I am not at that point where I can do that. So for me, I need to like solidify my background and solidify parts of the figure. Okay, and I'm going to bring some of this orange into the face here, just so I can get my eye moving around. And I'm probably going to put another coat of the background, and I'm not really, honestly, I'm not feeling this gray right here because the gray, it just seems too out of place. Like there's nothing on this page that is picking up on this gray. So I think it would be better if I use a blue. And I think that's what I'm going to do, but I'm not going to do it now because this chalk paint is still wet and it's going to turn into a big mess in the worst possible way. Not like a big juicy mess in a good way. It's going to turn into a disaster. So I'm going to wait, and I think I'm going to turn the background blue so it can pick up on the blues over here. And that's really, I think, going to make this page kind of really take it to another level. So I'm going to keep that in mind, but I'm just going to continue working on the figure here. So I'm going to keep this as the sun, and I think I'm going to have to get rid of this. I don't want to, but maybe when I bring in the blue, I can keep parts of that just for interest. But I think what I'm going to do is work on the neck a little bit because I still feel like it's a bit too busy. So let me see here. I'm going to bring some of this ink into... And some of it is bleeding, and that's okay. I'm not really too concerned about it. So I think what I'm going to do is let this dry completely and then come back to it. So if you've watched all the way to the end, thank you so much. So now this is going to be my middle layers when I started off with the acrylic inks, and I don't know how I'm going to title that, but so these are the middle layers now. So if you watched all the way to the end, thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.